Call the meeting to order. Can we get a motion for, yes, there you go. Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we appoint City Administrator Tony Graff as the clerk for this evening's, acting clerk for this evening's meeting.
A motion by Alderman Tudor, do we have a second? Second. Second by Alderman Larry Hall. Roll call vote, please. Well, I just hope, never mind.
Don't waste them
All
all.
those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, here we go. Now,
April
roll call.
Fools.
There, Mr. Acting Clerk. Do I do that roll call there, Tom?
Oh, yeah. Where's my agenda?
Yeah, we gotta go slow tonight, guys.
Go slow.
Larry Hall,
Here.
Kevin Kerwin,
Here.
Joe Van Dyne,
Here.
Kirby Hall,
Here.
Frank Studer,
Here.
John Persick, here, Fran Tudor.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. I declare that the regular meeting of the Wilmington City Council on April 1st, 2014 is now in session. The council got approval of the minutes for March 19th before you.
Mr. Mayor, I've reviewed the minutes. I found one error, the spelling of our sewer, our superintendent of sewers, Mr. Fowler was spelled Mr. Flowers here.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
that's on page 3 of the minutes under City Administrator's report. Other than that, I make a motion that we accept the minutes as amended and have them placed on file.
Motion by Alderman Studer, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Alderman Studer. Roll call vote, please.
Larry Hall,
Yes.
Alderman Kerwin,
Yes.
Alderman Van Dyne,
Yes.
Alderman Kirby Hall,
Yes.
Alderman Frank Studer,
Yes.
Alderman John Persick,
Yes.
Alderman Fran Tudor.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. All right, Mayor's report. A couple of items tonight. We'll start off first with the proclamation in regards to recognition of Wilmington's Public Library's 100th anniversary. Whereas in 1914, a group of civic-minded women successfully persuaded the voters of Wilmington Township to levy a small tax for library services for a young and growing community. And whereas the library grew and prospered, and in 1969, the board purchased the old Native Stone Methodist Church on Kankakee Street and redesigned the space to accommodate library resources and services. And whereas over the years, the library has offered programs for all ages, outreach services, literacy initiatives, job seeker and small business resources, expanding information services, computer training, internet access, and other means of community support and enrichment. And whereas through times of recession and prosperity, war and peace, the Wilmington Public Libraries continue to serve the people of Wilmington as a place of learning, culture, and community. Now therefore, I, J. Marty Orr, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Wilmington and the county of Will, state of Illinois, do hereby proclaim 2014 as the year of the Wilmington Library in the city of Wilmington in honor of its 100th anniversary and sincere gratitude to its trustees, staff, and volunteers, past and present, for their accomplishments, commitment, and dedication to the city of Wilmington and its residents. Again, we'd like to congratulate the library for being around for 100 years. I think probably everybody's been in there at least once. And they've always maintained a very clean environment. It's always very useful, very helpful, whatever you need, which is good for the library. All right, a couple other things under the mayor's report. Chamber of Commerce is once again going to be continuing their business after hours, which is, first one is going to be hosted by Grundy Bank on April 10th, 2014, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. I would encourage all the aldermen to, if they have the opportunity, to go to the business hours, meet with some of the local businesses in town, get to know them, get to know their faces. It's a good thing. I know the Chamber had this a few years ago, restarting it, rejuvenating it again, and I think it's a good thing for the community, especially the business community. So look forward to seeing everybody there on that day. Also, if you guys have the opportunity tomorrow night, and especially if you have teenagers, and even if you don't have teenagers, because you probably have grandkids who will be teenagers someday. Tomorrow night, the Wilmington Coalition at the Wilmington High School from 6:30 to 8:30 is having a presentation. I can't remember the guy's name, some doctor that talked about how working with teens and tweens in regards to drug use and stuff like that, how to be more vocal in your kid's life. So you guys got the information in front of you. If you can attend that, that'd be great as well. All right. Let's see, that's all I have under the mayor's report. Citizens' comments, do we have any citizens' comments tonight? All right, moving on. Planning and zoning, looks like we got a few stuff that was tabled from last meeting in regards to Triple B Enterprises and that stuff in the development agreement. Alderman Van Dyne, do you have those motions?
Yes, Mayor, I do. I move to approve the amended development agreement dated April 1st, 2014 among the City of Wilmington and Triple B Enterprises LLC for property located at 660 North Kankakee Street.
Motion by Alderman Van Dyne, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Alderman Kirby Hall. Any discussion? I guess we could kind of update on where we're at in regards to, I know some of the concerns was with the bonding issue. Eric, if you want to kind of address where we're at with.
Absolutely. And I apologize, I guess you don't have, you got the amended one, but it isn't a red line, so let me kind of go over some of those changes. I think that would be helpful. Looking at section 2, under approval of land use petition. I think it's on page 2. Paragraph 4. Previously, we talked about within 5 years after this agreement that the developer would provide, and I apologize, Eric Hansen on behalf of Brian Boswell, Triple B Enterprises. Tony, it's H-A and April.
You must know you.
We had 5 years before. Obviously, there was some concern at the last meeting about what happened, like, first of all, that length of time, but also what happens if the developer does not do what he's going to say, and do what he says in the agreement. Looking at it, we've realized, like, we can reduce that to 3 years, and obviously within that 3-year period as well, if it isn't done, the developer would be required to post some kind of financial vehicle, whether it's a letter of credit, some sort of bond, something along those lines that would obviously guarantee those obligations be met in the event that it isn't done in those 3 years. So I think that's it's something that after talking with my client and we're proposed, because I think it helps things. I think that he's interested in making sure that it's dust free as well, but it's just a matter of the cost. But I think we can get through there with 3 years and obviously posting something if we run into some trouble. Any questions on that one so far?
Just a little bit of confusion. When are you going to post something?
But within 3 years, if it isn't done within 3 years, he's required to post the bond or the letter of credit. And then the other change on this was on paragraph 6. Obviously, when we came in before, I think initially there was discussions about porta potty or doing something that while there were startups. Not interested in that. I want to make sure from the get-go that is clearly not what we're doing. This development agreement does not permit that whatsoever. But we were out at the site yesterday with the neighbor, Randy Patterson. I think he referred to himself as Crazy Randy. I don't know how many of you know him. He went around the site. We spoke with him, talked with him, and pointed out the area where we believe the sewer line comes in from the west. His concern, and ours as well, looking at it, was there is a ton of tar and materials, and his impression also is he believes there may be some asbestos on his property. And so the first question is that sewer line that runs from the trunk line over by the river, is that going to be full of junk and tar and all kinds of things? And also, if we're going to dig a sewer line, dig a trench for that sewer line to get there, what are we digging up? How costly is that going to be? Water, I do not think is going to be an issue. Water comes from the other side, and in fact, after talking with Randy yesterday, he indicated that at some point there were copper pipes and a meter stolen from the building. So I think if there were copper pipes, that leads me to believe there was probably water there. So I'm hoping, talk with Tony, we can get city staff, Public Works can get out there with the locator and find out, is that what we're talking about? But the key to this is, when HR Green and Planning and Zoning, and we were all talking about it, the key is we want to make sure, and for OSHA regulations and for everything, there's a restroom on the premises. There's a restroom for that auto recycling, for employees or what have you, but there's got to be a restroom. And we agree with that as well. We took a look, and what we're saying is possibility of using a self-contained, I use the term green again, but it's a self-contained system where it's not a porta potty, we would build a restroom in the building, but you're not utilizing water to flush the waste. These are capable of handling up to 8 people per day. I'm not talking about 8 uses, it's 8 people per day. And so that kind of addresses the challenges that we think we may have out there. It may not be a situation. We may come out there and realize we've got sewer right up to the property. Perfect, not an issue. But in the event that you're digging through possible environmental hazards and digging through some tar and some mess, I can assure you, for one toilet to spend upwards of $100,000, I think we'd rather have a gold toilet rather than pay for digging in that mess that's out there. So that was the reason for the change to paragraph 6, is using either the water and sewer or the other if it doesn't prove feasible. And then you turn to section 4, the water and sewer system, the last paragraph on that B. Again, makes an amendment to address, obviously, those environmental issues that may or may not be out there. And I understand, I do know that Tony said the IPA is going to be out there next week.
Yes.
So, I mean, obviously there's some concerns, and I was, from talking with Randy, concerns as well. So those are some potential challenges, and I just want to make sure that we're covered. The goal of this is to make sure we have a restroom. The challenge is going to be, can we get sewer to the building, period? So
Okay, the building you guys are getting is the bigger of the 2 buildings?
we're getting both of them. Correct.
So you're buying Randy's building?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. If you look,
Randy's is Randy's is the concrete, where the building used to sit, that was torn down years ago. Their building is the upright building, the 2 upright buildings. Randy owns the property in between the 2 upright buildings and Chicago Street, yeah.
correct.
And he owns that little building in the back, that little.
Oh,
garage up
yeah,
front.
right on the corner before
But
you.
yeah, that's his property, that's his parcel.
Okay.
So, and those were the only changes. Like I said, we're moving on the parking lot issue, and then obviously addressing the challenges that might come up regarding sewer, but making sure that, again, I want to make sure that we're clear that we're not talking about a portal head or porta potty or anything like that. We're going to put a restroom in there.
It's just, I mean, I got 2 lawyers here. Under the potential environmental, whose responsibility is to say that stuff exists anyway, you know, I mean.
Well,
I'm
good
assuming-
question. The problem is it's not our property, so that's the concern as well, is when we talked to Randy, we said, if it comes to it, can we get an easement? And he said, absolutely. I don't know if you're gonna wanna start digging in there. So, I mean, it's a situation where we can get an easement, but then if there's work being done and the ground's being disturbed, if there is a problem there.
I mean, if we find you're within reason to tap on, which is by ordinance, then, you know, because we can all say there's danger in there, Randy can say it's a danger in there, we don't know until somebody does borings down, but who's going to be responsible to do those borings, that's, you know.
Well, I think the IPA is doing some already.
We have some extra dollars still left on the site investigation for the Celotex property to the north.
Yeah.
So we're asking them, Randy's asking them if they could do some borings on his place.
Okay, good.
So we're trying to get that facilitated.
And the other would also be with having Public Works determine whether or not that sewer line from the trunk line, whether that's even feasible as well, because, again, I'm going off of what Randy said with his years being there, but he said that his belief was there's a very good likelihood that that sewer line is probably just caked with tons of tar and mess, and might not be used.
But until we actually know, you know, that's what I'm saying, whose responsibility is it going to be to know? You know, Randy can tell us it's bad, but until somebody,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, Public Works, for one, in terms of where the water line is, where the sewer line is and whether both of those are available. Well, I think in the agreement it talks about that you guys are stating that we have these available and these are good to go. But in terms of what's in the soil, I think the IEPA, as well as when we're probably going to have to, when it comes time to look at it, if the IEPA comes back and says it's clear other than a bunch of tar, then it's going to be a matter of talking to who's going to dig this trench and what's that going to cost, how far do we have to go to look at that. So,
I think standard's 300 feet. That's what's being spelled by ordinance. If anybody's within 300 feet.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
We'd have to look. So, okay. Anybody else have any other questions?
Tony, are you gonna come back with the findings then, with the boring samples and that?
Well, first off, we're going to do the investigation on what utilities are actually on the property first, because there could be that existing line, if we televise it and it is open and they're able to connect to it, then we want it to disturb any soils. So we're going to do that first. And then if they need to get an easement, and we're going to need to dig a trench, and then we'll know that, and then when the EPA, if they want to come back and do soil borings, we'll know where those borings should go for the easement, and we'll see what type of material is there. I mean, we do know from the initial Celotex closure, there is tar, and there is shingles under the ground there. So we'll just have to figure out where that easement, where we could go where we're not going to disturb the soils, where there could be some contaminants.
Yeah, one thing I want to make sure we don't get off base is we go through this development agreement, those things are in here just basically for, for the city's protection throughout this whole process.
Yeah.
That it's recognized in the development agreement about the sanitary and sewer needs and what, we're asking of from the developers in regards to that situation and getting permanent sewer and water tap line. They're also in the agreement addressing that there may be concerns, dealing with irrigated, and that's all being recognized too. So I want to make sure everybody understands that. It's clearly spelled out in the agreement that we got before you tonight. Any more discussion on this? Make it a roll call vote.
Okay, Alderman Kerwin?
Yes.
Alderman Van Dyne?
Yes.
Alderman Kirby Hall?
Yes.
Alderman Frank Studer?
Yes.
Alderman Persick?
Yes.
Alderman Tudor?
Yes.
And Alderman Larry Hall.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Yep. Got the next one.
Yes. I move to approve ordinance number 14-04-01-01. An ordinance approving a conditional use for a PUD with variances as pertain to property located at 660 North Kankakee Street, Wilmington, Illinois.
A motion by Alderman Van Dyne, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Kerwin. Any discussion? Roll call vote.
Alderman Van Dyne?
Yes.
Alderman Kirby Hall?
Yes.
Alderman Studer?
Yes.
Alderman Persick?
Yes.
Alderman Tudor?
Yes.
Alderman Larry Hall?
Yes.
Alderman Kerwin?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Yep. Okay, I believe the next one's under planning and zoning.
I
Kirby, you got those?
Yes, I do, Mr. Mayor. All right. I move to approve ordinance number 14-04-01-02, an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance of the city of Wilmington, Illinois, as pertains to property located at the southwest corner of Interstate 55 and Lorenzo Road, Wilmington, Illinois, to rezone said property from I-5 to B3 to the conditional use for restaurants which include drive-through facilities.
Motion by Alderman Hall, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Alderman Studer. Any discussion? Tony, this is in regard to Jennifer, to the
This is
Travel
in
America,
regards
Petro.
to the Travel Plaza at Bridgeport Logistics Center. It's actually a requirement in our annexation agreement to rezone a portion of the property to B3, so we're following through with that, and we're ready to develop the Travel Plaza there.
Any questions, discussion?
Yeah, Planning Commission to give a positive recommendation for this rezoning.
Take a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Studer?
Yes.
Alderman Persick?
Yes.
Alderman Tudor?
Yes.
Alderman Larry Hall?
Yes.
Alderman Kerwin?
Yes.
Alderman Van Dyne.
Yes.
Alderman Kirby Hall.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
All right. I move to approve Ridge Logistics Park 1 LLC preliminary plat for specified parcel as submitted upon attorney and engineer review.
Motion by Alderman Kirby Hall, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Alderman Persick, any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Persick.
Yes.
Alderman Tudor.
Yes.
Alderman Larry Hall.
Yes.
Alderman Kerwin.
Yes.
Alderman Van Dyne.
Yes.
Alderman Kirby Hall.
Yes.
Alderman Studer.
Yes.
Motion passed.
I move to approve Ridge Logistics Park 1 LLC final plat for specified parcel as submitted and upon attorney and engineer review.
Have a motion by Alderman Kirby Hall, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Alderman Persick, any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Tudor.
Yes.
Alderman Larry Hall.
Yes.
Alderman Kevin Kerwin.
Yes.
Alderman Van Dyne.
Yes.
Alderman Kirby Hall.
Yes.
Alderman Studer.
Yes.
Alderman Persick.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Planning and Zoning Commission, next regularly scheduled meeting is Tuesday, April 3rd, 2014, at 6 o'clock p.m. Before I go any further, guys, just want to make notice that they will also, everything's on track for them to have a special meeting in regards to Project Lego, correct? On April 17th? That's still.
It's either going to be 17th or 16th, depending on, we're trying to get it
It'll
up.
be the 16th or 17th.
Yeah.
But in essence of that and everything to continue to move forward and to get everything done as quickly as possible, what we'll be doing is the city council meeting is actually scheduled for the 15th.
Correct.
Because we want to really have this done right after planning and zoning. We'll be changing the city council meeting on the 15th to the following Tuesday, which is April 22nd, at 7 o'clock p.m. If you guys want to make note of that, and I'll get the notes out. That way everything follows through as Project Lego gets done. Planning and zoning does their final plat approvals, we'll get it done right away on the 22nd. So we'll continue to move forward with that. So just so everybody's aware of that, and I'll readdress that at the end of the meeting. Committee reports, Building Grounds, Parks, Health and Safety, Alderman Persick and Alderman Van Dyne.
Mr. Mayor, the next scheduled meeting is Wednesday, April 9th, 2014 at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Water, Sewer, Streets and Alleys Committee, Alderman Studer, Alderman Kerwin.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the request for engineering services to Robinson Engineering for the Wilmington Peatone and Route 53 intersection project in the amount of $57,156.25, and payment will be dispersed by the accountant upon receiving the signed and executed IDOT EDP local agency agreement.
A motion by Alderman Kerwin, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Alderman Kirby Hall, any discussion?
Is this amount refunded by the state?
Yes. Yeah, that's why, before we actually could make the payment, we want the agreement back, even though we got a verbal approval. We want the signed agreement before we make the payment.
Good question. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Larry Hall.
Yes.
Alderman Kerwin.
Yes.
Alderman Van Dyne.
Yes.
Alderman Kirby Hall.
Yes.
Alderman Studer.
Yes.
Alderman Persick.
Yes.
Alderman Tudor.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Mr. Mayor, the next scheduled meeting is Wednesday, April 9th at 5:30 p.m.
Please and Esther, Alderman Studer, Alderman Tudor.
I have one. I move to approve the participation agreement between the City of Wilmington and the Government Payment Services, Inc., doing business as GovPayNets.
A motion by Alderman Tudor, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Alderman Van Dyne, any discussion? Roll call.
Who are these people?
This is that one for the,
Yeah, for the adjudication, for allow them to, the swipe and go. Yeah,
and no charge yet.
yeah, there's no charges.
Yep.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Alderman Kerwin.
Yes.
Alderman Van Dyne.
Yes.
Alderman Kirby Hall.
Yes.
Alderman Studer.
Yes.
Alderman Persick.
Yes.
Alderman Tudor.
Yes.
Alderman Larry Hall.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Next scheduled meeting is Tuesday, April 8th at 5:30 p.m.
Finance Administration and Land Acquisition Committee, Alderman Studer, Alderman Tudor.
One, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the amended amount or accounts payable report dated April 1st, 2014, in the amount of $272,437.60.
Motion by Alderman Studer, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Studer, any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Van Dyne,
Yes.
Alderman Kirby Hall,
Yes.
Alderman Studer,
Yes.
Alderman Persick,
Yes.
Alderman Tudor,
Yes.
Alderman Larry Hall,
Yes.
Alderman Kerwin.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Mr. Mayor, next scheduled meeting is Tuesday, April 22nd at 2014 at 6 p.m.
Yeah, we'll reschedule that one too, huh?
I would say.
All right, Ordinance and License Committee, Alderman Hall, Kirby Hall.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the next scheduled meeting is Tuesday, April 8th, 2014 at 6 p.m.
Personnel and collective bargaining, Alderman Hall, Alderman Persick.
At this time, Mr. Mayor, there's nothing, and we're not having an executive session, right?
Correct.
Sorry. Scratch that one. City Administrator / City Clerk's report.
Does he have to move?
Yeah, should I? Go dance? No report. Simple.
Okay. Attorney's report, Mr. Irvin.
Thank you. Since our last meeting, I attended the PZC Commission meeting in regards to Ridge Logistics Park and prepared their findings as required by city ordinance and also the ordinance that was before you today. And I'm also going to be working on a motion to vacate the judgment in the severance lawsuit. And that should be in court within the next few weeks. And that's my report.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Irvin. You know, executive, again, next regular city council meeting is going to be scheduled for Tuesday, April 22nd at 7 o'clock p.m. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Favor? Aye.